the candidates they will cast votes for in the November 6th election for City Council or Mayor. So again, the rules from the City Council forum apply here. We'll offer each candidate for Mayor, both incumbent Mayor Pete Sanchez and Lori Wilson, the opportunity to provide opening remarks for 2 minutes. With a minute response time for each for the same question. So what we'll do, Lori, is we'll start with you. Please introduce yourself and make your opening remarks.
Well, good evening. Thank you for each one of you saying it is a pleasure to be here with all of you tonight, and it is a pleasure to have served you over the last 6 years on the council as your council member and also as your vice mayor. I originally ran to be on the council to be a fresh voice, to make sure that not only was a different perspective on the council that brought different ideas, but also to empower your voice. And I feel that over the last 6 years, I've achieved that. I know that there are decisions that happen at our council meetings, but because I was there, they happened in the best way. But also serving over the last 6 years, what I realized is Suisun City needed more than a fresh voice. It needed a fresh vision. And so that's why I'm running now for mayor, to lead this great city forward, to move beyond the status quo. Because like I always say, good enough is not enough for Suisun City. You see, it was over 30 years ago that a group of people got together when they heard that Suisun City was the worst place to live in the East Bay. They said it could be more than that, and they pushed to be more than that. There are members of the council here, and including our mayor, who was involved in pushing beyond the status quo and making sure that Suisun City is what it is today. However, there needs to be a new generation of leaders that said Suisun City could be more than it is today. That although it's a good place to live, we can reach our full potential. And I believe that I am the leader to bring that to pass together with all of you. So I ask for your support this November. Thank you.
Pete, can you hear me now?
I can hardly hear Lori, but I guess if it's my turn, I'd like to start now.
That's great.
Okay.
It's your turn to make an opening remark.
Good evening, everyone. Magandang gabi po sa lahat. First, I would like to thank the Suisun City Library for hosting this candidate forum, as well as our panel, Thomas Perry, Jim Silverman, the school principal, Jay Dowd, and our outreach coordinator from school district, Mr. Dave Nutt. As I had stated, I would have attended in person, except for my having committed earlier to a family reunion here this week in Southern California. I look forward to a friendly conversation and question-answer discussion of Suisun City government, listening and learning from everyone, and committing to provide solutions to problems and concerns that we hopefully will agree on tonight. My service to Suisun City started in 1994, when you first elected me as city council member. On the third year of my first term, then Mayor Jim Sperling appointed me vice mayor, realizing the important financial education and experience that I bring to the city council. I was vice mayor until 2006, when you elected me mayor in 2006, 2010, and 2014. My background as a CPA and auditor, I have lived in Suisun City since 1983, at 1028 Cooper Way, 712 Golden Highway, and now at 300 Stamford Circle. I worked as supervising auditor in the Solano County Assessor's Office for 23 years, retiring in 2006 when I got elected mayor to serve you full time. as your financial professional in City Hall until today. My 3 children attended Suisun Elementary School, Suisun Middle School, and Mayoral High School. I am from a family of 11 children. My 5 sisters and my brother all live in Suisun City with my entire family. I am fully invested in Suisun City. I'm here to stay. I truly appreciate your vote and trust.
Thank you. Okay. So now we'll move past the opening remarks to 1-minute responses. We'll begin with you, Lori. Tell us your vision for Suisun City.
Like I noted before, is I think one thing we've been suffering from is from lack of vision. A group of people got together and cast a vision for Suisun City, and it was progressing towards that way. And then, but if you look in the last 15 years, not much has happened. So my vision for Suisun City is together with all of you to pick up that vision and dust it off, and all of us together come to the table and recast it for what Suisun City looks like in the future. When I look at Suisun City, it is vibrant and dynamic and beautiful. That is what Suisun City is about, and we need to leverage all of that for Suisun City. So my vision has to do with that, and the way I do that is through my priorities. And my priorities are quality of life, which speaks to the roads, infrastructure, moving in and out of the city, how you commute, what our parks look like, all of that. Next is community safety. That is so important. You've heard the other council members, the people running for council talk about community safety. We need to make sure that our police and fire are responsive. So that means we have to support them. And last but not least, economic development. Did you say
Time. But there's only 2 of us. Pete, your turn. The question for you is, please tell us your vision for Suisun.
You'll have to speak louder because I didn't hear what Council Member Wilson said, but if I can hear the questions clearly,
Sure.
then I'll respond.
The question, Pete, tell us your vision for Suisun City.
I can hardly hear it.
Mr. Mayor, can you tell us your vision for Suisun City?
Okay, vision for Suisun City. Over the past 24 years, I have seen Suisun City grow. I've been instrumental in bringing in the Joseph Nelson Community Center, a new library, new schools. As treasurer of Measure C, that generated $100 million in funds for our schools. I've been instrumental in bringing cast iron rail, working with the developer Mike Pratt. I worked hard to bring the crop center that now provides partnerships that are mutually beneficial for the city and the crop center. I believe that with the additional funding that we're getting from Senate Bill 1 gifted to us by Governor Brown in the form of $500,000 for our city streets, the more than $1 million that we get from Measure S, thanks to the commitment of our citizens to be taxed a little bit so that we can provide better streets to everybody. And hopefully, with the passing of Measure C, these coming elections that will provide us $2 million more, and with the continued successful operation of Walmart that provides us up to $1 million in property and sales taxes, we will be able to provide more activities in the city, bring up our staff salaries, catch up on street improvements, keep our police department and the fire department fully staffed, develop the remaining 3 or 4 large parcels of land, and to go forward with the annexation of land across from Walmart.
Time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next question for you both. What are your 3 top priorities for Suisun City? Your top 3 priorities. Pete, the next question. What are your top 3 priorities for Suisun City?
Is that question for me?
Yes, it is.
Okay, the top priorities are providing more activities in the city, keeping our police department and fire department fully staffed, and fully developing the remaining parcels that will bring us the revenues that we need.
Thank you. Lori, your top 3 priorities for Suisun City.
So, first, quality of life. I think I shared a little bit on that first one, so I won't go back to that one. Second is economic development. We still have quite a bit of vacant land within Suisun City. We have buildings that need to be filled, and we have dilapidated buildings even in downtown that the city has owned. So making sure that we bring in appropriately sized businesses for those particular places. And that means we have to be aggressive. We have to be out there and be an ambassador for Suisun City and making sure we understand how unique we are, and we're leveraging that at every step of the way. And so that's something that I've done while serving for the last 5 years on the Economic Development Ad Hoc Committee, is going out with the developers, talking through them, finding out what's appropriate for Suisun City and bringing those in. And I'm happy that within the next couple of years, you'll begin to see fruit of that work. Last but not least is community safety. When we look at, we've heard about it tonight with our police and our fire. For me, I want to make sure our police are supported. The city of Dixon pays more than what we do for our police. And we're also need to make sure that we're appropriately staffed. When you look at Suisun City, we meet the, is that time? Okay, we meet the minimum level of staffing on paper for our city. So what happens is if anybody's out, and we have 5 vacancies right now, functionally, we are not appropriately staffed. And so making sure that we are appropriately staffed, functionally, not just on paper. Thank you.
Thank you. Lori, the next question will start with you. How do you propose Suisun secures the funds necessary for everyday business?
I can hardly hear the question. Say that again, please.
The question is to Lori, so hang on. Okay, Lori, go ahead.
No, I've forgotten the question. Oh, never mind, I've got it. I've got it. How do we, I'll let you do it for the audience. They may have forgotten as well.
How do you propose Suisun secures the funds necessary for everyday business?
So first of all, thank you for Measure S, because it did provide necessary resources to be able to take care of the things that were important to you. We went out for Measure S, that's when we asked what's important to you. So for me, it's about prioritizing the budget to those same things. Now, we as a city have to provide certain services to you and certain business to you. We have to keep your streets clean. We have to keep them well maintained. We have to respond when 911 calls, all of those things. So in order to do that, we need to focus on economic development. We need to bring in additional businesses. So if you look at our city, over 70% of the sales tax goes to fix Fairfields roads, Vacaville's roads, Vacaville's police departments, all those things. We need that money here. But if we don't have any place for you to shop, then we can't, that money's not going to stay here. So my focus would be on not just downtown. Downtown is great, and we need to make sure we have businesses there, but also looking at Sunset and 12, looking on the east side of town, making sure we annex the city, that part of the city by Travis Air Force Base, and be able to use that to bring in good jobs for all of you and good services and everything else that you need.
Time, thank you. Pete, the question is to you. How do you propose Suisun secures the funds necessary for everyday business?
Well, actually, we have the funds necessary now for everyday business. The next 4 years will be great for Suisun City in the sense that the money that we expect in the next 4 years are monies that we never had in the past years. Even during the recession, Our city did not lay off anybody compared to Fairfield and Blackfield and other cities that had to lay off people. We took care of our staff. We did not cut services. And we made sure that we budget our funds so well that we will not be facing the kind of dire situation that all cities had to face. I am proud of the balanced budgets that we had in my 24 years in the city. With the additional money that we are getting from Mayoral, from Senate Bill 1, from Measure C, that hopefully will pass.
10 seconds.
I'm pretty sure that we'll be able to meet the needs of our city staff in terms of putting their salaries at par with their counterparts in other cities. I'm pretty sure that we'll be able to catch up with the improvements in city streets and all the repairs that we need. And I'm pretty sure that we will be competitive in terms of salaries that we pay so that our police officers will not be enticed to go to other agencies nearby. Thank you.
Thank you. You got the next question, and here it is. What is the biggest challenge you see for Suisun in the next 3 to 5 years, and what do you bring to city leadership to help meet this challenge?
I did not hear the question at all.
Okay, here it is again. What is the biggest challenge you see for Suisun City in the next 3 to 5 years, and what do you bring to leadership to meet this challenge?
The biggest challenge to the city is the impending recession. If recession hits the city and property values drop, and property taxes and sales taxes drop, we will be facing the same problems that we faced not so many years ago. And we will have to stand still and try to balance the budget on the back of our employees again. We will be seeing them going to other employments, and there goes our grand plans for the city. If recession doesn't hit us, I think it will be smooth sailing in the sense that we will have more money than we ever had before. Thank you.
Thank you. Lori, the question again, what is the biggest challenge you see for Suisun in the next 3 to 5 years, and what do you bring to city leadership to help us meet this challenge?
I think the biggest challenge is we don't have a plan. I know the mayor said we have sufficient funds to handle us for the next 4 years, but I disagree. I think if we stay exactly where we are right now, we will not be able to prosper as a city. No doubt about it. So for me, it's important that we come up with a plan. And that means we get buy-in from everybody. I can start as a leader and say I have a bright and big plan, but it doesn't matter what my plan is if you as residents aren't engaged in buying into it, if the staff isn't engaged in buying into it. So for me, what's important is that we set up a plan to move forward as a city and no longer be stagnant and status quo. We set up a plan to bring in more economic development, to make sure that we have the resources to face the challenges in front of us. And we make sure that we diversify in terms of what our priorities are within the budget to ensure that if a recession does hit, which we're due for a correction in the market, we're due for that we're making sure that we're handling, that our budget is prioritized in the way that the essential services that we're to provide for you are still taken care of. So for me, it's about vision and it's about planning, and we haven't seen that in the last 15 years.
Thank you. Okay, next question to you, Lori. How important is it that a mayor interact in person with the community?
Very important, essential. So for me, since I got on the council, I said when I was running and knocking on people's doors, and I told them to hold me accountable to this, and you'll hear me say that, hold me accountable, that I would empower your voice. How can I empower your voice if I don't hear from you directly? So my husband, a few years ago, stopped going to Rayleigh's with me because that became my office hours. So I go to Rayleigh's, and people know if they see me in Rayleigh's, they can stop me, ask me a question, talk to me. He used to just go to the car and wait, and then he was like, yeah, you can go to the store. So, you know, when I'm in the bank, when I'm at Travis, people talk to me. When I'm at Starbucks, people stop me in the line, they're like, Lori, okay, and then they start telling me what their issue is. And so for me, I've made a point to be, over the last 6 years, accessible and to interact with you because I want to empower your voice. I meet people for coffee at the park all the time. I mean, if you call me, you will get me. If you text me, you will get a response pretty timely. I have a group of residents, the only way to communicate with me is texting. And I text them back, and we have exchanges, and I come to the council meeting and talk about them, or I don't even wait to the council, I'll talk to our staff about what that issue is. So I feel it's important, and I know I've been that, and I will be just as interactive and accessible as your mayor.
Pete, the question for you, how important is it that a mayor interact in person with the community?
Well, my disadvantage is that I can hardly hear the question.
Right, let me repeat. How important is it that a mayor interact in person with the community?
I still cannot hear the question.
Sorry.
Mr. Mayor, how important is it for a mayor to interact with the community?
Very important. I take pride in making myself accessible to the community. I am a full-time mayor since 2007. People are actually impressed that when they try to make an appointment, I will always say, can you meet with me today or tomorrow? Or do you have any specific time next week or whenever you are available? When people want to be married, I ask them, where do you want me to perform the wedding? In City Hall or in your house or in your loved one's home? There are people who come to City Hall and I overhear them saying, can I make an appointment with the mayor? And I call the office and say, whoever I heard asking to see if they can make appointments with me, let them in. In my 12 years serving as mayor, I have never been not accessible to anybody. People who do not even agree with certain things I agree that I believe in, at least they tell me that at least I am available to them at any time. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Pete, the next question is also for you. Thinking about priorities for development, which is more important for Suisun? Building new homes or adding commercial space?
Adding commercial space is definitely the one that we are shooting for. Not everybody is aware of the fact that we have a contract with the master developer, Mike Rice and Frank Marinello. And we started it by giving them the condition that they cannot build homes unless they have brought in a hotel. A condition that they complied with. They brought in the Hampton Inn Hotel, bringing us $200,000 in revenues. Knowing that we will not approve a housing development in any parcel that they control without first putting commercial development. That is the vision that we have, and we have performed based on that vision. In addition, we have developers that we have talked to that are now engaged in initial work on how to put in commercial businesses. A good example is my friend, developer Cameron Ajumi. I have known him since 1994, when I first came into the city. He's bringing in Holiday Inn to bring us $300,000 in revenue. Thank you.
Lori, the question to you. Thinking about our priorities for development, which is more important for Suisun? Building new homes or adding commercial space?
Absolutely 100% adding commercial space. We have vacant land that needs to be developed, and we have buildings that are vacant that need to be filled, and and we have dilapidated buildings that need infrastructure improvements so that businesses can come in and actually develop. And I'm happy to say that I've been serving on the economic development ad hoc committee for 5 years and have been strategic in bringing in things like the hotel from the very inception. And there's other development coming, even on the 30-acre site by where the water tower is, even across from Highway 12 over near where you see Popeyes. And so I'm proud to have a relationship with the developer, Cameron Najumi, as well, who used to be our former city manager. And that's what you do as a mayor. You build those relationships so that you can be involved in the development. When I look at our city, we have so much potential, and it's about really coming to realize that potential. And that's why I'm proud to have the endorsement of the Chamber of Commerce, because you know what I'm trying to say? I'm proud to have their endorsement because they know that I will be an advocate for not only the residents, but for businesses as well, because I see them as our partners in order to meet the needs of our citizens.
Thank you. Lori, this next question is for you. Should you be elected mayor, you will have a diverse set of personalities on the city council. What specific strategies will you use to ensure that they all work together effectively?
I did not get the question at all.
So, first of all, I'm a collaborator. I don't like to do anything alone. For me, it's about bringing everybody together. And when you bring everybody together, you build consensus and you build buy-in. But the way you do that is when you first start with respect. I will respect you at the just human level because you breathe and exist on this earth. You will get respect from me. And so that's really important, I think, in City Hall to start there, to start with respect. And to give everybody a chance to have a voice, because I don't have all the answers. You don't have all the answers. We all are so diverse. We bring different perspectives. We're as unique as our fingerprint. But when we come together and everybody listens in here, we get a better decision. So for me, it's important that we get good decisions at the dais and that we hear from everyone. Even if we already have 3 votes, that we make sure that conversation ends with the hope to get all 5 on board. Because if we can get all 5 on board, that's the best decision for Suisun City. Because each one of those council members represent a portion of this population. Thank you.
Thank you. Pete, the question now to you. You will have a diverse personality. Should you be re-elected mayor, you will have a set of diverse personalities on the city council. What specific strategies will you use to ensure that they work together effectively?
Well, city council is about relationships. As mayor, you have to make sure that you have at least 2 votes in the council. Otherwise, no vision, no idea, no project, nothing will move. And as mayor, I have made sure that the vision is clear to everybody. I am content with the 3-2 vote if that is all that I can get. When we brought in Walmart, a lot of people were up against that. As everybody will remember, 2,000 people signed a petition to recall me and 2 other council members when we approved Walmart. But we were steadfast. We know that we can get $1 million from Walmart. We know that the fear that there will be endless nights of encampments by homeless people at Walmart parking lots, the fear that crime will shoot up in my city, and the fear that property values will drop because of Walmart, those are groundless fears.
Time.
And I'm proud to say that in my 4 weeks of walking door to door, that those who have spoken against Walmart have now agreed with me. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this looks like it might be our last question before closing remarks. So Lori, it will go to you. Or excuse me, to Pete. Thank you. She's doing great up here, by the way. Thank you. Pete, this will be our last question before closing remarks. The question is, what is your most important requirement for the new city manager?
Please repeat the question.
What is your most important requirement of the new city manager?
The most important requirement for a city manager, and I have quite an experience on this, we had 3 city managers in my first 4 years in the city council. And the most important thing is that the city manager must understand that he or she is the only person that the city council appoints and the only person that the city council can let go. The vision of the city council as a whole must be clear to this city manager. And we have made sure that the city manager knows where the direction of the city is. Our priorities are economic development. We want city staff to be well compensated. We want our police department to get all the support that the police department needs. I'm instrumental in making sure that we have added a new commander in the police force. And I'm proud that we have brought full staffing to our police department. I am proud that we have made our employees whole in terms of salaries.
Time.
And the new city manager will have to work with us with the background of the fact that it is not easy to bring in commercial development in the city because foot traffic in the city is not that much. Thank you.
Thank you. Lori, the question to you. What is your most important requirement for the new city manager?
So as a council, I believe as the mayor, we set the vision. As a council, we set policy. And the role of the city manager is to execute that. So for me, a strong city manager has strong execution skills to be able to execute the vision and the policy of the council, and that they're proactive in doing that, not reactive. And I think what we've seen over the last 15 years is we've seen a reactive council and a reactive city leadership. And so for me, it's time to move to where we have a proactive council and a proactive leadership. And I think what's key about that is when you look at staff, they've been taken care of. Yes, they've been made whole, but they were made whole back to 12 years ago. So now it's about how do we push forward? How do we make sure that our police are taken care of and our fire? And that's why I'm proud to have the Suisun City Police Officers Association endorsement, because they understand that you need a strong leader with a strong vision who will bring everybody to the table to be able to move this city forward. And if we stay stagnant, if we stop in one spot, what happens is everybody else grows around us. And we see weeds come up around us. And we see weeds on Highway 12. Highway 12 is our main street. We have a main street, but Highway 12 is the main thoroughfare. So we need a city who's proactive, a city manager who's proactive.
Thank you, Lori. So now I'll go to you to finish with your closing remarks. You'll have 2 minutes. She started, so I meant. Pete, I apologize. It is your turn to make your closing remarks. You have 2 minutes to offer the audience your closing remarks for tonight.
Do I go first?
Yes, sir. Please do.
Okay. Thank you all for attending tonight's forum. As I stated, I moved to Suisun City in 1983. I served as treasurer of the Suisun Elementary School PDA, auditor of the present Elementary School PDA. I was treasurer of Measure C that brought $120 million of funds to our schools, resulting in a new Crescent Elementary School and a new Crystal Middle School. I have been involved in bringing our new library, new playgrounds, new Joseph Nelson Community Center, new pedestrian and bikeways, new crop center, and renovated senior center. We brought in Walmart that provides you now with cheaper groceries, hundreds of local jobs, and $1 million in property and sales taxes. We continue improving streets with more than $2 million that we get yearly now from Major S and from Senate Bill 1. We added more pedestrian and bikeways. Our water rates are lower than other cities and agencies nearby. Our sewer fees are lower than other cities and agencies. I have held positions in county and regional governments to bring forth the vision that we have in Suisun City. I have served as president of the Fairfield Suisun Sewer District, the Solano County Water Agency, the Suisun Solano Water Authority, and now serves as the chair of Solano Transportation Agency, chairman of the Redevelopment Agency, and director of various commissions like the local Agency Formation Commission, the Bay Area Air Quality Management District, the Solano First Federal Credit Union, formerly CMT Credit Union, and as director of the North Bay Regional Center helping the Solano Napa Sonoma disabled. Also appointed to the State Council of Development of Disabilities by Governor Frank. The future is bright for our city. Our new city manager, with more aggressive approach in pursuing new businesses, will bring us to better financial standing. We can do better at forging mutual beneficial partnerships with everybody. I thank you for your past support and appreciate your vote on November 6th. Maraming salamat po. Thank you very much.
For your closing remarks, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you guys for staying into the evening to be able to hear from both the mayor and I. Thank you to the Suisun City Library, the Crystal Middle School, our Principal Dowd, Dave Knott for coordinating this, and all of our facilitators for the questions. I love the city. My husband and I came to Travis 20 years ago. And when it was time to move from active duty to reserve duty for my husband, we chose to live in Suisun City. Like many of you chose to live here because it's a wonderful place to live. It has natural beauty, has so much to offer. But I'm tired of telling people it has so much to offer. I want to realize what we have to offer. I want to leverage who we are as a community. I want us to be a community. If I hear one more person from Vacaville say, there's a greater sense of community there than here, I'll scream, because we're only 4 square miles. We're only 4 square miles. We can do so much in 4 square miles if we do it together. I'm running to lead the city so together we can change Suisun City. So together we can move forward. So together we can realize our full potential. I'm running to bring not only the fresh voice, but the fresh vision, and to bring that next generation of leaders into Suisun City's fulfillment, focusing on quality of life, economic development, and public safety. And I tell you, I have overcome so many obstacles in my life, but that's because I said at every step, good enough is not enough for me. I'm going to keep pushing, I'm going to keep trying, and I'm going to make sure I get where I'm supposed to go. And I say for Suisun City, good enough is not enough. We need to keep going, keep moving forward. We need to leverage not only our staff and our city management, but we need to leverage all of you and have you get involved in the city. And I want to disobey that for a minute, but I'm not going to. I want to.
Go ahead and finish, please do.
So I'm asking for your support this November. I'm asking for you to make a choice, and that's what I'm giving you, a real choice to say, do you want to stay where we are, or do you want to grow and move forward and be everything that we're supposed to be? So vote for me November 6th or before if you have your absentee ballot. Go to electlorywilson.com, go to facebook.com/Wilson for Suisun. And if you think somebody should have heard what you heard tonight, you go to my Facebook site, you'll see both meetings tonight. So I appreciate all of you for being here, and I ask for your support so together we can shake up Suisun City.
I just want to thank all the Suisun City for coming out. I want to thank our distinguished panel who screened the questions and make sure that our questions were good questions for our candidates, okay? And you guys are really, really trying to talk. With that in mind, I just want to say thank you and good night.